guys, it's your girl Lauren with How to Beauty, and today we're talking about dupes. Who would have guessed? On my channel, dupes? What? So get comfy, get cozy. If you're new to my channel, I'm gonna talk all about dupes, what I've done for the last 2 years, how many I've purchased, what I think about them, and give you some ideas, and maybe you'll think it's a good idea and maybe you will steer clear of them. So get comfy, get cozy, and let's get started. So over the last 2 years, unintentionally, I purchased 45 dupe handbags. Now, 45 sounds like a lot, but once you start adding them up and collecting them, it just feels like a family of handbags that you wish you had always had and never thought you could afford. Okay, so there's a downside to buying dupes, and let's go into that first, and then we're gonna talk about kind of the plus sides. So the downside is you purchase a dupe and every single one, let me make sure, not this one and not this one, but both of these Birkins, I had to air out for weeks, and I could not air them out in 100-degree weather. Luckily, I purchased them in the springtime, so we're talking 70s, 80s degrees, because I didn't want them to misshapen. I did, in some cases, find that when I aired out a non-pleather or non-leather, a plastic dupe, it actually shrank the material because it was too hot and it was only 90 degrees. So imagine this summer, I didn't buy any but one, and it needed to be aired out, but it wasn't plastic, or at least it wasn't that kind of plastic. And so when I aired them out, that's something that comes with the territory and that I had to do. So you have to make sure when you're purchasing a dupe that it is not winter time, because you can't get a full, really good airing out of a handbag. Because here's the deal, you don't want to buy a dupe one, or as many as I did, and not be able to air them out, because one, you're not going to want them in your house. Two, no one's gonna smell them because it smells kind of just like a plasticky tire, which doesn't sound that great, does it? And I didn't have to air out every single dupe I purchased. I will put that as a disclaimer, but in most cases, especially these two, for some reason, I don't know if it was the shipper, I believe it was the warehouse where it was stored, it had to be aired. Okay, so that's one of the things. The other thing is, sometimes the sellers weren't really honest, and I wasn't smart enough in the beginning, the very beginning, meaning the first two, to get pictures. Now, if I did want a logo, I would ask for a picture and say, hey, I want to see the logo. If it was just something without a logo, which was very minimal, I always wanted logos. I wanted to see the print of the either logo or the material they were using. If it was a material that was really questionable or looked really cheap, I would go for a different handbag, okay? The other reason why I bought dupes was I didn't spend over $100. Now, I said I bought 45. I threw away 15 dupes. Now, that doesn't mean there were a couple that didn't circulate, but where I purchased them, where you can see in other videos, because I don't have links, I don't have sellers, I'm not saying that dupes are for everybody. So in other videos, you can see where I purchased the handbags. That's not what this is really about today. This is just kind of about my experience and what's going on and kind of pricing with what I did, and I'm not gonna do anymore. But it's just, there are some downsides to purchasing dupes. So the other thing was, so we had the smell, we had the materials, so the material may not have been leather. The lining may have smelled. The color may have not been as described. I mean, what else can I tell you? The logo may not have been the right size. It may not have said the logo on it. And then the construction, I mean, when we talk about returning those, the construction of the bag, we're talking about sewing, we're talking about the material was horrible. We're talking about, I just don't know who was sewing the things. I know how to sew really well. I usually design fashion and I design clothing. However, when I got into the dupe buying business, I had no idea, and you're going to see in other videos, if you love handbag reveal videos or dupe videos, you're going to see that I purchased some handbags, and I mean, I could not believe what I had to do. I had to be the handbag doctor. And I swore to you in videos I was never going to be the handbag doctor again. I was a handbag doctor over and over and over. The last handbag I purchased was a YSL handbag, and I had to completely rip the lining out, sew in a different lining. That video will be linked down below, but I'm telling you guys, it's absolutely insane with what I had to deal with the dupes. Now, why I don't feel bad about buying dupes is because, number one, this is like, what are we talking, Birkins? I don't even really know anymore. 5,000, 7,000. You know, everybody says Birkins are an investment. To be honest with you, I don't know what is an investment anymore in this thing that we're going through in life. I feel like it's like a new car. When you drive off the lot, you're going to lose value. So that's kind of why I like to buy dupes. The other thing is I didn't spend over $100, and every dupe that I threw away because I was not returning back to where I purchased it, because it would be, so if my dupe was $30, not all my dupes were 100. We're talking about 25, 30, 40. So this one was 40, this one was 100, this one was 100, and this one was like 80. So, you know, I wasn't spending $100 on every dupe. So if I'm spending $15 or $30 on a dupe, and to send it back to the country that it came from, the shipping fees alone were $30 to $75. So I never returned any of those handbags, and they were really honestly so bad. They were thrown away. I was recouped the money in like a credit, so I was able to buy stuff. So I bought wigs, I bought jewelry, I bought clothing. I decided some of the dupes I just wasn't gonna go for. I was gonna go in a different realm, and I was so happy I bought jewelry. I have a jewelry dupe video. You've gotta check that out. I think it says something about diamonds, or look in my jewelry box. It's all dupes for jewelry. Beautiful, beautiful jewelry that I was able to purchase. Some rings like $10, just gorgeous. So it wasn't all bad. It was kind of like a trick and trade type of thing. You know, I'd get tricked, and then I'd have to trade out and figure out what I was gonna purchase. But that was the name of the game. So buying dupes is not, it's exciting because you're waiting for the handbag, and if it turns out right, if the color is right, if the description is right, if the logo is right, if the style is right, if the materials are right, if it doesn't smell very bad, then it's really exciting to get these dupes. For me, it really was. It really, really made me happy. I really liked it. Okay, so when you talk about buying really, really high-end luxury, we already talked about these, you know, going off of the lot and then losing value. Not only that, but no one is here to say that the handbag doesn't get ruined. If your Hermes handbag that is real gets ruined, if it is unsellable, if you wear it out and you don't intend to sell it, but let's say you do intend to resell it, and God forbid something happens, and I'm not just talking about thefts, but God forbid something happens to where your bag is ruined, you don't have that resale value. We see all of these celebrities and all of these influencers with closets full of $1 million worth of handbags. I'm just talking about handbags. And I'm talking about women who live internationally, not domestically, who have real Hermes collections. If something were to happen to that closet, there's no resale value. There is insurance if they're real and they're insured, but it's not going to be at the same value. So unless you're buying the rarest Himalayan Birkin, it's not necessarily an investment. It's an investment in you and making you feel good and you using it, but that's enough. The other thing is the quality that people are talking about that are buying the luxury handbags, and what I've seen when I've gone shopping is not exactly at a dupe level. It's not that level of craftsmanship, but people are complaining about luxury handbags. And my question is, why are you complaining? Now, very, 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 very wealthy people that are buying these things, they expect to purchase by season. So you can see if you go in a wealthy area, in your, wherever you live, and you say there's a wealthy shopping area, okay? You will probably find in that shopping, outdoor shopping, anywhere. So let's just pick Rodeo Drive, for example. You will see that everything that is of that season or the upcoming season is going very quickly. But as you transition into the next season, so if you go from spring to fall, you will see a ton of spring or summer merchandise, tons and tons on the rack, because women and men, people with money, purchase the season or two before so they can wear the current season. So there is a lot of opportunity for people who do want to buy luxury and they don't care that it's last season. But people with money don't wear last season clothing unless they can't shop anymore. They got cut off, which happens. Believe me, I've been in retail for many years, and people do get cut off from purchasing, and what they get is what they get. I've cut myself out from the dupes, so that is what it is, and that's for lots of reasons. Don't need any more. 40 handbags is enough. The second thing is that they'll get classic pieces. So a classic Chanel tweed jacket is something that you're definitely going to want to continue to wear throughout your lifetime until the moths get to it or until it falls apart, right? Otherwise, if you're buying really trendy items, because they're on trend, then you're going to continue every season or every year buy what's on trend. And for me, I'm buying clothing like Shein clothing, because I can buy on-trend clothing really inexpensively that looks similar to what is really, really high fashion and really expensive. So if you're buying really luxury handbags, luxury clothing, or if you have an area where people have a lot of money and are affluent, you're gonna find sales that are amazing. So I have one department store in an area that's affluent where I am at. I'm just going to give you an example. So all of the fall clothing comes in, and it's usually around summertime, right before school starts, and they unload all of their spring summer clothing. Okay, so all of their spring and summer clothing, even now, is like 70% off. It's crazy. It starts at 30, then goes to 40, then goes to 70. So if you are a savvy shopper and you are someone who wants the higher level brands, even luxury, then it's great to find that area where people that have money are not going to buy those sales items, that are going to be buying the fall items, or for that current or next season. So that's just kind of like a tip or trick that I found. I bought a ton of clothing, especially shoes, you guys and gals and everybody. Shoes are amazing. But when it comes to luxury goods, I'm just gonna leave it at, so many people are very, very, very upset with purchasing luxury items, especially handbags, purchasing luxury handbags that are not made well, that are going up in price. So in my opinion, I watched the show, what was it called? House of Gucci. And Jared Leto was amazing in that, by the way. But I watched House of Gucci, and basically their story was, if it's true to the story, they basically said that they did not care that Gucci was providing logos and their less quality leather materials to make these dupes, because they said if an Italian woman wants to wear Gucci and she can't afford what's in our showroom, let her get it around the corner from someone else. That was interesting to hear, because we have so many people who say, if it's not real, I don't want it. And I think for me as a designer, it's not only a compliment, but here's the deal. If I'm a designer and I'm doing Jean Paul Gaultier, Terry Mugler, Dolce & Gabbana prices, there is such a great gap between the people who can afford that and the people who cannot. All of the people who cannot afford that, right? So since there is, and I'm in that gap, so those people who cannot afford it, why would I not want to see someone else wearing something similar to my design? If they're never going to be able to afford my $10,000 dress, if they're never going to be able to afford it. Now, my way of thinking as a designer is, and I think designers, some people will do this and some people won't, but in my opinion, I think Louis Vuitton, and some people would disagree with me and say they already do, but I think Louis Vuitton should have a line of, like, not ready to wear, they have ready to wear. They even have like jogging and outer leisure wear and active wear and that kind of stuff. They should have, and they're starting to do it, they have an outlet. Gucci has an outlet. Who else has an outlet? Louis Vuitton might have an outlet. So they're starting to make entry-level luxury, which is really smart if you are really that person who wants the label and doesn't want to dupe. As a designer, I would make the really expensive for that top 1% who wants the season, throws away, donates, gives away the old season clothing, right? Wears in season clothing. I would cater to them. And then in some way, like Marc Jacobs did Marc by Marc Jacobs, so he was really savvy. He started doing that, so he did his high end, and then he said, I'm going to cater to my group, which is very broad. Basically, everyone who, Gwyneth Paltrow said that she can't relate to anyone who makes $10,000 to $20,000 a year, or whatever harebrained, very, unempathetic, or realistic or lunatic type of comment you want to call that. And I have a story about her and how she really hurt the sales of a company that she became a part of, but that's a totally different story. But anyway, so there's a lot of us who want luxury. I would love to be able to buy a bag, a handbag that's $300 or $400 that's maybe Gucci, but maybe it's not the Gucci with the rhinestones and the studs and the, I hate to say fur, but fur and all of that stuff. So they have really high end, and then they have something for all of us, right? Now, a lot of those brands are never gonna do that because that's not what they do, and that is why dupes exist. So if you wanna cut the dupes out and you're one of those people who've stayed on through the video and said, I hate dupes, I wanna see what she has to say about dupes and try to see if she's gonna try to talk me into it. I'm not. It's more about the company saying, if Gucci, if Balenciaga, who's really popular right now as well, Marc Jacobs always is, if they want to make it to where the people that Gwyneth Paltrow talked about that she couldn't relate to because she's too highfalutin wherever she is in poop land, make it for that group of people, make it for us to where we can afford that. And then yes, there will be the purse snobs, the shoe snobs, the clothing snobs that say, oh, that's the ready to wear line, or that's the lower line of the brand. But that's fine with me. I don't have a problem with that. I obviously don't have a problem with that because I'm buying dupes. So I hope this was kind of an interesting video. I know a lot of people have been really down and kind of, sad that they're not getting, like a black double flap Chanel handbag. This was $100, this was $40 right here. These two were, what did I say, 80 and 100, something like that. So I want you to feel like you can get what you want. I really feel like that's important. If, again, if that's what you want. If you don't, and you can afford everything luxury, then that's amazing. But I have seen some influencers that really are not buying the high-end, expensive handbags anymore. They're actually buying really, really, really inexpensive handbags in the $800, $900 arena for luxury. That's inexpensive. And they're coming to reality where most of us really are, and saying, this is really what this is worth. Maybe even the 900 is overpriced, because I'm going to give you an example. I can go somewhere, I can't say where, you can figure it out, I know. I can go somewhere and I can buy a Prada label, a logo, the little triangle. I can go to a store and buy a $17 nylon bag, whatever bag that's popular for Prada that season, or that's coming up next season, and I can glue it, hot glue it, or sew it on that bag, and no one would know that's not Prada, and I literally would spend $30 on the backpack and $1 on the patch. So, you know, there are some items that are just way, way expensive, and that's why I went this direction. I have one more video linked down below. Well, two. One of my new Birkin video, I'm giving you an update, I'm giving you colors, I'm giving you where, I'm giving you sizes, so that's going to be linked down below. I did buy the YSL Maxi shopping tote, however, there were some issues with that as well. Listen, it never ends for me. It's never perfect, you guys. I guess it's never perfect for you guys who buy luxury. It's never perfect for us who buy dupes. So I guess we have a little something in common. So I'll stop the video here and say thank you so much for watching my channel and the support that you've given me. And we are going to be doing some new fun things that we haven't been doing. I don't want to give it away yet, but we are. And this is always going to be a free channel. All I ask for is subscribing. Tell your friends if this is the type of channel which I want to make it as fun, exciting, and relaxing, to where you could literally, like I do, for 2 to 3 hours a night and just chill and watch YouTube. That's what I want to do for you. So I'm doing that. Tell a friend. Have a fabulous day or night wherever you are, because this is an international channel. I'm so proud of that. You guys, love you. Hugs and kisses, and I will see you next time. Bye.